Perhaps you know this feeling very well. You wake up and there is a quiet heaviness in your chest. You look at your life and think, almost like a verdict, that you are failing. Not failing at one exam or one project, but failing at life. You see other people who seem to move forward with ease. They have careers that look impressive. They have families that appear harmonious. They seem confident, purposeful, successful. And you think to yourself, with a mix of shame and confusion, that you should be further by now. If you stay with me in this reflection, you may see your situation in a different light. You may discover that what feels like failure is often a story built on mistaken goals. You may also find one or two small steps that you can actually take. Now, let us consider a simple guiding question. For what and for whom am I really striving? I invite you to keep this question close as we walk through this conversation. I once spoke with a man who was convinced he had failed at life. We will return to him later because his story may help us understand your own. When people tell me they are failing, they rarely mean that nothing works at all. Often they mean that they do not match an inner picture of how life should look. This picture is usually very strict. It demands that you are the best. It demands that you never make serious mistakes. It demands that you always stay in control. Under such a picture, almost everyone will feel like a failure. Perhaps you know this from your own work. You perform your tasks, you give your energy, you try to be reliable. Yet inside you live with the constant sense that it is never enough. You might ask yourself in quiet moments what is wrong with you, why you cannot simply be satisfied with what you have done. From an Adlerian view, the question is different. We do not first ask what is wrong with you. We ask what you are living toward. For what and for whom am I really striving? Many people live toward the secret goal of being above others. They may not say it aloud. They might even appear modest. Yet their inner ruler measures everything in comparison. Am I more successful than my colleagues? Am I a better parent than my friends? Is my relationship more mature than theirs? This comparison creates endless tension because there is always someone who seems further, and there is always a point where you must rest and thus fall behind. Let me share a small scene. A young woman receives a promotion at work. From the outside, everything looks like progress. She earns more responsibility. Her title sounds important, yet in the evening she lies awake and feels like a fraud. She scrolls through social media and sees people whose careers shine even more. Instead of joy, she feels a quiet panic. She thinks, if I were truly successful, I would not feel this fear. So she decides that she is failing. What is happening here? Her life goal is not to contribute with her abilities. Her life goal is to prove that she is superior and safe from criticism. When that is the goal, every sign of anxiety seems like evidence of failure. From an Adlerian perspective, this is a mistaken life goal. It leads away from community and toward isolation. It turns every human limit into a shameful secret. There is another kind of goal. It is simpler, but it demands courage. Instead of asking, how can I be the best? We ask, how can I be of use? How can I participate with others? As a fellow human, not as a competitor. Psychologists sometimes call this social interest. It is the feeling of belonging and contributing. It is the sense that my life is tied to the lives of others. So far, we have been looking at the painful pressure of mistaken goals. In a moment, I would like to explore how you might experiment with a different direction. Consider one very small step tomorrow. Choose one task in your day. It may be a work task, a conversation, or a household chore. Before you begin, ask yourself our guiding question in a gentle way. For what and for whom am I really striving in this moment? Then shift it slightly instead of trying to perform it perfectly. Let the focus be usefulness. How can this be of genuine help to someone, even if it is not flawless? This is not a dramatic change. It is a small experiment in reorienting your goal. Now let us turn to another familiar scene. A parent looks at their children at the end of the day. The kitchen is still not fully cleaned. The children were on screens longer than planned. There was a moment of impatience that now returns in memory. The parent concludes, I am failing them. This conclusion is heavy because the hidden goal is absolute. It says, a good parent must always be calm, always consistent, always present. Such a goal does not fit real human life. It leaves no room for tiredness, illness, or learning. It attacks the person instead of guiding their growth. What would happen if the parent adopted a different inner sentence? Not, I must be the perfect parent, but I want to be a good enough parent who keeps trying to be of use. The day might look the same on the outside. There will still be dishes. There will still be moments of impatience. Yet the inner conclusion changes. Instead of I am failing, it becomes I am learning how to care, step by step. This does not remove responsibility. It gives responsibility a human shape. So we return again to our guiding question, for what and for whom? Am I really striving? Am I striving to defend a fragile image of perfection, or am I striving to join my life with the lives of others? In cooperation. Now, I promise to return to the man who felt he had failed at life. When we first spoke, he measured himself only by lost chances. He did not become the leader he imagined. His friends married, he stayed alone. He compared himself with a picture that no one could fully match. We did not try to comfort him with empty praise. Instead, we explored his days. He helped his elderly neighbor with shopping. He listened to colleagues when they were in trouble. He had a quiet talent for making complex tasks understandable. These things seemed small to him. They did not fit his idea of grand success. Little by little, we ask a different question. If another person lived this way, would you say they had no worth? Would you see only failure, or would you see a person who contributes? He paused, and something softened. Over time, his goal changed. He stopped chasing the dream of being the most impressive. He began to ask, in each situation, how he could be a useful partner. His life did not become perfect. He still had regrets. Yet, the sense of complete failure lost its grip. He discovered the courage to be imperfect. He allowed himself to belong, even while unfinished. You might remember the small step we spoke of earlier, to take one task and shift the goal from perfection to usefulness. I invite you to extend this experiment in the coming days. Once or twice, pause and ask our guiding question. For what and for whom am I really striving right now? If you notice that you are only defending your image, name this gently, then ask how you might turn, even slightly, toward contribution. You may also try a second small step in the evening. Write down one moment from your day where you were of use. It can be very simple, holding a door, sharing a kind message, doing careful work that no one praised. Look at this list after a few days. You may begin to see that your life already contains threads of meaning. They were hidden under the harsh light of comparison. We have spoken about failure, but really we have been speaking about direction, about the goals that guide your choices, often without your awareness. When you feel that you are failing at life, you are often standing at a crossroads. One path leads deeper into isolation and perfectionism. The other path leads toward community, usefulness, and shared growth. The question that can guide you is simple, yet it asks much of your honesty. For what and for whom am I really striving? If you carry this question with you, it can become a quiet companion. It does not judge you for being imperfect. It invites you to participate as you are in the human community. As we come to a pause, I want to say this clearly. You are not alone in these thoughts of failure. The very fact that you are reflecting already shows your wish to live more meaningfully. You do not need to transform your life in one heroic act. You can begin with one task, one conversation, one evening reflection. This talk is only one step in a longer path. There are many related questions we could explore in other moments. Questions about work, about love, about courage, about belonging. For now, I encourage you to treat yourself as a learner, not as a lost case. You are allowed to be unfinished and still move toward contribution. May this guiding question stay with you in the coming days. For what and for whom am I really striving? If you return to it with patience, it may slowly change the way you see your life, not as a story of failure, but as a developing effort to live with others, in courage, and in connection. Thank you for taking this time to reflect with me. If something in these thoughts has been helpful or encouraging, you might choose to stay connected here, perhaps by subscribing or by leaving a small sign of appreciation for this conversation. You may also wish to pass it on to someone who could use a gentle word today. In this way, we continue to grow together in courage, in belonging, and in quiet mutual encouragement.